Shall we talk NASCAR?
Let's go.
I would like to do that very much with you.
Let's talk NASCAR racing.
Okay. And welcome once again to the Rowdy.com Big Three. Burning issues in our favorite sport. Buck Fever, Bassmasters, Jerome Buzz Cutler, the man behind the camera, and the man with the questions. And what are they today? Pray tell.
NASCAR's Sprint Cup All-Star Showdown from Charlotte Motor Speedway has tweaked the format once again. It seems like they keep leading the rest of the sport in terms of what's going to be exciting for the fans. Now
they come up with different ideas. They do it at the All-Star race.
But this was not a big tweak here.
Well, it wasn't a big. I think it might.
I guess a
be,
tweak
but
can never be that big.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Yes,
Now, before the final segment. Before the segment 4, the final 10-lap shootout,
right,
all the cars will be required to enter pit road for a 4-tire stop. How they come off a pit road is how they'll start the final segment.
I like it. I like it. I don't think it's a huge deal as far as the racing goes.
Why?
Because basically you're putting a money stop in this event now.
You're putting
just the way you have at the end of the race. This is the money stop. This is what determines track position for the final run. That's what you're going to have here. A money stop, a 4-tire stop. Everyone's
so you're testing the crews, basically.
Yeah, you're putting the pit crews more into the race. Obviously, they'd played a big role in qualifying, but by the time you got through all the inversions and the segments,
well, what
and
if you want to take 2
that,
tires and take track position?
You can't.
You can't.
It's a required 4-tire
stop.
I don't know that I agree.
But this is a hinky, tricked-up event. It's an all-star race.
I know, but seriously, let them do 2 tires. They can mess up on 2 tires too. I don't like it. I think it's why even the playing field like that?
What is this negativity?
No.
Good job.
No.
Good job, Sprint and Charlotte Motor Speedway
How is
and
it a
NASCAR.
Good job?
Because the 4-tire stop puts the pit crews in the equation. They're a big part of racing. I like the fact that they're part of the main event.
I think they're trying to take Chad Knaus out of the situation. They're trying to make his decisions for him.
When was the last time Jimmy Johnson won the All-Star race?
This should not be a strategy shootout. This should be on the track. So have them come in, add the pit crew element, and have it be a 4-tire shootout there at the end, 10-lap shootout. I like it. Good job. Thumbs up.
All right.
Next issue.
Let's move on to issue number 2. Our good buddy, Steve Wade.
Yes.
Doing a little work for That'sRacing.com, and he caught up with Travis Carter, legendary crew chief and owner. I don't think that's hyperbolic to call him legendary.
Used to be Rick's owner,
yes.
Rick Mast's owner.
He's also worked with Darrell Waltrip, Cale Yarborough, won a championship with Benny Parsons. I mean, this guy has been around.
Yep.
And he kind of thinks that the garage area has become a little too standoffish, which I find ironic because we always say one of the things we love about NASCAR is the proximity that the fans can get to the drivers. But he said, I do think it's the people around the drivers that do that, and I believe it has created a superstar persona for the drivers and has kept them at a distance from people. They didn't have that damn uppity attitude that says, I'm better than you.
He's totally right. He's totally right.
Well, I mean, come on. Some of it is inevitable.
And you know
some of it is inevitable.
Right.
If these guys make all this money and there are that many demands on their time, which there are, and they become they become famous to a certain degree.
Totally.
What's Dale Earnhardt Jr. supposed to do? Well, just walk down the street like a normal dude? I'm sorry, but he's not a normal dude. He's way more famous than a normal dude, and he's going to have to deal with that, and that does put distance, and it is too bad. I'm just not sure that anyone's done anything wrong in this situation, and I got to say, for someone like Dale Earnhardt Jr., given his level of fame, to me, he strikes me as remarkably open and remarkably humble, given his level of fame.
I think
Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, you hear guys who deal with these guys on a daily basis say, despite their level of fame, despite their level of wealth, despite their level of stardom, they still have a good head on their shoulders, and they still treat people right. The times we've interacted with these guys, they don't know the hell we are, but they've still treated us right. They didn't have to. So I don't think Travis Carter is wrong. There's just I just don't think it can be avoided.
Everything is so
different.
different.
I do think NASCAR drivers and the NASCAR community as a whole still does get it when it comes to dealing with the fans as people and letting the fans be close to the sport. And I know fans value that. Fans of NASCAR value that very specifically. It's a personal connection that you make with a driver that is so cool about this sport. It's not a team that represents your town. It's a guy that you pick because you think he represents you and what you stand for and what you believe in and what you're like.
I go back to when we very first went down to Charlotte, and they said, "Hey, we're going to take you to Gibbs Racing," and I honestly thought I was going to see like an old brick garage and an old. And it's just
You did?
so massive and corporate. It's like a giant hospital. This is a business. These guys are so corporatized, and they are rock stars. That's what it's become. And
you know, actually, Carter makes a good sort of analogy there, or a comparison. He says, look, the reason he became a crew chief is because he and Benny were the only guys who could work on the car, and Benny was driving, so he just became the crew chief.
It ain't like that right now.
Exactly. Let's move on to issue number 3. A couple of days ago, we talked about some specific drivers vis-a-vis the Bristol Motor Speedway race coming up this Sunday.
Right.
One guy that we didn't talk about that I would like to now is Matt Kenseth, because here's a guy who was really good there. Then they repaved. He seemed to have lost a step. And I'm wondering, with the imminent changes to the track, if maybe the old Matt will resurface at Bristol.
I don't think necessarily so. I wouldn't put it past him to figure out what he needs to change, or to figure out what needs to change about the car to deal with this car on this particular racetrack. But I'm not sure it's a function exactly of the repave, or is it a function of the car of tomorrow? I think those are the questions that you have to ask. Why did Matt Kenseth lose that mojo that he had?
You know why he lost that mojo that
Bristol?
he had? It's really simple. Robbie Reiser's no longer his crew chief. I think he and Robbie were a great team, and losing Robbie has really put an end to his success, an end to his mojo. I'm not saying that Robbie needs to come back.
I think he's shown some pretty good mojo here the last couple weeks.
Okay, all right, but he lost Robbie Reiser and everything seemed to fall apart.
Well, that could be it too. I think Matt Kenseth, he's another guy it'd be very interesting to watch. On Sunday, we'll be back tomorrow to talk about Bristol and preview the race in our own unique style. Until then, for Buck and Cutler, I'm Bass. We'll see you next time right here on the Rowdy.com Big 3.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.